Captain's log. Started 150912. How's everyone doing this week? This guy is doing great. For a few reasons. Mainly, it's the 49th anniversary of Star Trek. At least it was on Tuesday. And football is back. That's right. 2 reasons I'm happy today. This entry of Prosper is sponsored by our good friends over at Beer and Song of the Day, headed up by Joshua Baker. Go check them out. Check them out on Facebook. Like their page, www.facebook.com/Beer and Song of the Day. Excuse me. All one word. If you can't figure out how to spell it, like he'd say, you have no business being on the internet. But hey, you know what? I'm feeling especially froggy today. And I'll tell you why here in a little bit. Alrighty? But first, you gotta have the drinks. 2 BOCs. Alright. This week I'm doing something a little different. Both the BOCs this week are going to be Newcastle British Pale Ale Caledonian. They are, where is it? 5.8% alcohol by volume. And like I said, I'm doing something a little different this week. Go ahead and pop them both. I got the Colts glasses today. You'll see why here in a moment. Ooh, these are going to be good. These are going to be very good. All right, now I'm trying something at Prosper. I've actually had this next contraption for almost a year. Haven't got around to using it yet. Ha! That's right. That's right. Got one of those plastic beer dispensing helmets. Okay, so bear with me. I've never done this before. Whoa. Okay, that's not going to work. I need to do it this way. I have a feeling I'm going to foul. Please let me be wrong. There's one. Is it in there? Yeah, it's in there. There's 2. If I can mount this sucker on my head without spilling. Yes. The football, beer, and Star Trek gods are not disappointed. Cheers to y'all. Kapla! They'd say in the Klingon Empire. There we go. These are not bad. These actually hit the spot. Alright, well, just like with any of my shows, have started out the right way. Have started out with the birthdays because, unlike some people, I have friends all over the world, whereas they have friends all over the city. My first birthday for the week, it has to be done. I mentioned him earlier over at Beer and Song of the Day. I'm going to mention his lovely better half, Fara Baker. Fara, my dear, I know you are a hardcore Star Trek The Next Generation fan. I grew up with The Next Generation, but honestly, dear, I like Deep Space Nine. Between The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, I got to go with Deep Space Nine. It took Star Trek on a different course. It was actually an original concept Star Trek series, if you will. But hey, you know what? That's not what this is about. This is wishing you a happy birthday. I hope Josh spoiled you on your birthday. And hey, I'll drink to you. All right. Next birthday on the list. I knew this guy in good old Germany. I am talking about Michael Schroeder. Hey, what's going on, dude? How's life treating you? I hope you had a good birthday. You know what? You are out there in Yeehaw, Texas with my friend Josh. Go look him up sometime. You know what? Definitely look him up. Hit him up. Tell him I sent you. And hey, if you're old enough, have one of these with him. I don't know how well I like this thing. All right. Anyway. Next on the list. Yeah, I'm having trouble. I'm sorry, folks. Next on the list, I also knew this guy in Germany. Played softball with him for a couple years. I also went through a leadership course with him. Jeff Ilgenfritz. Hey, what's up, man? Are you as happy as I am football's back? I don't know. With a team like the Saints, you should... I don't know. Mixed feelings. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm busting your chops. But hey, Jeff. Excuse me. I hope you had a happy birthday. I hope Brittany spoiled you. I hope things are going well for you. And hey, let's drink together sometime. This thing's almost more trouble than it's worth. Folks, I apologize. This one's going to take a little longer than normal. But hey, I had to try something, you know. I had to try it. Never been done before. I had to give it a shot. All right, next birthday on my list. I actually went to school with this gal. She's a year ahead of me. A year. Or was it 2? I think it was just 1 year ahead of me. Pam Sanders. Pam, my dear, how are you doing? Oh, excuse me. How are you doing? I hope life's treating you well. Hope things are going good for you. Hey, you know what? Let's drink together. All right. And the last birthday on the list is a guy I know here, Earth Station, Okinawa. I don't know his favorite football team. I honestly don't even know if he likes football. But it's all good. Lamar Liddell. Man, what's going on, brother? How are you doing? I hope you had a good birthday. Hope your wife spoiled the crap out of you. You deserved it, my friend. Hey, you know what? Let's drink together. All right, that's it for the birthdays. Moving on, we had a few entries this week for Identify This. Excuse me, let me pull them up. All right. The first entry for the week for Identify This. Identify this episode. It's only fitting that since The Man Trap aired this week, it was our first taste of Star Trek ever, that this one had to be up. This was it. This was from The Man Trap, the first episode ever of Star Trek ever aired. Unfortunately, nobody guessed it. But hey, you know what? It's all good. It is what it is. All right, now this one, had to throw it out there. It was sitting on my phone for a little bit. Had to do it. Name the actor. This, of course, this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And my friend that I haven't met yet in person, he is about as big a Star Trek nut as I am, Alexander Phillips, a new like to the Prosper Facebook page. He said Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He also said that this was his first acting role. Now, I was researching this for Beer and Song of the Day, but this was not his first actual acting role outside of wrestling. It was his second, though, but it was his first not playing a human. So I'll give you that one. And then another identify this episode. I had to do it. Nobody took a shot at it. It is what it is. It happens. This was These Are the Voyages, the last televised Star Trek episode ever to date. Not a strong finale, in my opinion, but hey, excuse me, I get paid to fix airplanes. I get paid to fix airplanes, not produce television. But hey, you know what? Alex, to you, my friend, I'll give you the Prosper salute, and I'll drink with you. I almost need a degree in hydrophysics for this. Okay. I already mentioned we're going to go to This Week in Trek History. I already mentioned it that on September 8th, 1966, The Man Trap aired on NBC. The first episodic entry of Star Trek ever. Thank you, Lucille Ball, for talking NBC to giving Gene Roddenberry another shot, and thank you for also talking Gene Roddenberry into pitching it again. Also, September 8th, 1973. You will have heard this for the first time.
Space, the final frontier.
That is Captain Kirk. However, this was Star Trek, the animated series.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Its first episode, Beyond the Farthest Star, aired
to explore
September 8th,
new worlds,
1973.
seek out new life and new civilizations.
Excuse me.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Let that play out while I go on with the rest of This Week in Trek History. September 9th, 1954. Now, this next birthday, he was not a main character. However, he played a few big supporting roles. He played 2 of them in Deep Space Nine and 1 in Enterprise. I'm talking about Geoffrey Combs. This man is very talented. If the role was written for you to like him, you'd have liked him. If the role was written for you to hate him, you'd have hated him. He was just that good. He could embody it. Anyway, he turned 61 this past week, September 10th, 1914. How this gentleman passed away on September 14th, 2005, after having just turned 91. Bob Weiss was born. He was the director of Star Trek: The Motion Picture. He would be 101 years old today if he was still alive. And the final entry for This Week in Trek History, September 11th. Ugh, bad day to be born. September 11th, 1958, although she didn't know it then. Roxanne Dawson, the lovely Lieutenant B'Elanna Torres on Star Trek Voyager was born. Happy birthday to y'all. I just lost my prop. Oh well, screw it. Moving on. This thing's sitting a little lopsided. Okay. Alright, folks. This is worth a shot. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm imbalanced, so. Hey, you know what? I gave it the old college try. Ooh, so that's how that worked. Alright, I gave it a shot. Gave it a shot. Didn't work. Too difficult on me. Losing too much fluid. Alright. Okay, so I tried. I failed. Won't do it again. Crap happens. Alright. It's back. Mentioned it already. Football is back. Here's my week 1 picks. And already, to use a baseball analogy, I've already swung and missed. And here's what. Here's where. This week for week 1, I had Steelers versus Cheaters. I had the Steelers winning that one. Well, the Cheaters cheated again. Radiogate, folks. It's real. It happened. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's the hater in me. In all honesty, though, it really might have been a fluke, but at the same time, the Patriots have no credibility anymore. Or, excuse me, the Cheaters have no credibility anymore. Hence this guy. Oh, crap. Man, I got sidetracked. I forgot all my additional shout-outs. All right, I'll come back and pick them up. All right, Packers-Bears. I got the Packers winning that one. I don't know what it is. If they still got Jay Cutler, I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. So I'm going with the Packers on that one. Chiefs-Texans. I'm going with the Chiefs. I cannot root for another AFC South team. I cannot do it. It cannot be done. There we go. Browns-Jets. This is a toilet bowl game. Honestly, I don't expect crap out of this one. Literally. I'm pegging the Jets to win. I think the Jets are going to do it. However, I'm rooting for the Browns on this one. There's only one time that I am going to root. Excuse me. There's only one time I'm going to root for the Jets. That's when they're playing the Cheaters. Which I know that's going to be futile. But hey, last couple times it's been close between those two. All right, I'm getting sidetracked. Colts, Bills. Duh. Not the Bills. From what I'm being told, the Bills have a strong offense and they have a strong defense. They're just missing one thing. The quarterback. You can't have a good team without a quarterback, I don't think. But I'm not saying that the quarterback makes the team. I am not saying that at all. All right, let's move on. Dolphins, Redskins. Well, Washington's Redskins fans, the NBA is coming up soon. That's all I got to say. I'm pegging the Dolphins on this one. Panthers, Jaguars. I like the Panthers. Believe it or not, I like the Panthers as a team. And I'm going to explain why. There was a child that wrote in to all the teams in the NFL asking, can I be a fan of your team? Guess who the only team to answer back was? The Panthers. But that's not why I picked them. I picked them because, well, the Panthers playing the Jaguars. The Jaguars aren't the best. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. The Jaguars suck. So I picked the Panthers for that one. Seahawks, Rams. As long as they don't screw up like they did in the Super Bowl and lose it, I got them pegged to beat the Rams. But I don't know. That one's actually kind of iffy. So we'll see on that one. Saints, Cardinals. I gotta go with the Cards. I haven't been impressed with the Saints here lately, so I'm going with the Cards. Lions, Chargers. What can I say? I'm going with the Chargers. I've got the Chargers pegged. Titans, Bucks. 2 rookie quarterbacks. First ever regular season NFL game. I got to go with the Bucks. I don't know. Call it a feeling. Bengals, Raiders. Going with the Bengals. Now, I like the Bengals. They're a classy organization. They picked up Devin Still for a year. That way, they picked up Devin Still for a year, but they ended up cutting him. They did end up cutting him again. But. He was on the team long enough to get another 5 years worth of medical coverage for his daughter Leah, which I absolutely love that. Plus, there is a chance Indy might sign him. There's a good chance Indy might sign him. I was watching the Today Show earlier this week. I think it was actually yesterday. And Hoda let it slip that he might be playing for the Colts. That would just absolutely make me happy. That would be another jersey to add to my collection. I've already got a Bengals Devin Still jersey. I would not mind adding a Colts Devin Still jersey to my collection. I would just absolutely love it. All right. 4 more games. Let me rattle through them real quick, and I'm going to go back and hit all the people I should have hit earlier. Ravens, Broncos. I mean, not just because it's the Broncos, but the Ravens are playing at Mile High Stadium. It's hard unless you're used to playing there. It's hard to win at Mile High. That's my logic on that one. Giants Cowboys, another divisional rivalry, but I like Eli Manning. Eli, before Peyton Manning was released from the Colts, Eli Manning was my number 2 quarterback. He's since dropped to number 3, but hey, you know, it happens. I'm never going to root for anybody over my Colts. The next person I'd root for after the Colts, Peyton, then Eli, and then anybody that's playing the cheaters. Or, excuse me, anybody that's getting cheated, I should say. So, yeah, I got the Giants pegged to win against the Cowboys. It is at AT&T Stadium. Hey, remember this. Of all the things that go down at AT&T Stadium, a touchdown isn't one of them. Just remember that. Last year was a fluke season after, almost 20 years of garbage out of there? Hey, it is what it is. Eagles-Falcons, the Battle of the Birds. I'm not quite sure what Chip Kelly's doing in Philly, so I am going to go with the Falcons on this one. You know, home team. And last but not least, Vikings-49ers. I got the 49ers pegged mainly because they're the home team. That's why I'm doing that. That one is what it is. All right, Trek history done. Football done. Birthday's done. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to say howdy to some other folks that I should have done earlier. First additional greeting for the week, Donna Kehoe. Donna, sunshine, what's going on? How you doing? I hope you're not having the headaches like you have been. I hope they're actually dying down for you. But hey, you know what? Just let me know if there's anything I can do for you. All right. Next on the list, Brandy Mannion. Now, this is a gal I met she's actually friends with Aaron Eisenberg. A good dude indeed. Brandy, I hope life's treating you well. I hope things are going good for you. If, hey, you need to talk, just let me know. Just hit me up. Drink to you. I need to slow down a little bit. I'm not even to the episode yet. All right. Now, next on the list. She's a Patriots fan. The only reason I called her a Patriots fan is because I'm trying to be respectful to her right now. This gal is a good friend of Josh Baker's. I might have met her in person when I was living in England. I don't remember. You'd think you would though, you know. But Kendra goodness. Kendra, my dear, thank you so much for accepting my friend request. Thank you so much for liking the Prosper Facebook page. I hope you still like it. I saw earlier I was at 330, now I'm down to 329. I hope you weren't the one that just left. But hey, Kendra, let's have a good football season this year. Let's let Buffalo make it to the playoffs. All right, next on the list, a New York Giants fan. I can dig it. I spoke with him a lot this morning. Seems like a good dude. Neighbor of Josh Baker's and living in Yeehaw, Texas. Dennis Beach. Now, Dennis, here's one thing I don't get. You like the Giants, but you don't like Eli Manning. Can you kind of explain that one to me, or am I thinking of the wrong person? I don't know. I talked a lot of football with a lot of people this morning. Also, I was kind of scatterbrained this morning. But hey, excuse me. Let me know. Hey, hit me up. All right, and last but not least, I got to give some love to the folks over at Synthaholics. David Duncan, Aaron O'Brien, Fayth Hertzberg. These three wonderful people allowed me to be a part of their podcast last week, which is, looking at it, due out any day now. But hey, to you three, thank you so much for letting me be a part of your production. I really appreciate it. I'm really honored to have been included, especially with everything Fayth had going on with her being at a convention. Hey, I am truly honored to have been a part of it. I really am. I hope I have the chance to do it with you guys again. And if I figure out how to record a Skype call, I'm going to invite you guys to be on Prosper. The Prosper salute to you three. And hey, let's drink. All right. Whew. I'm bouncing around a little bit tonight. I'm not on my A game, folks. I apologize. But hey, you know what? We do what we can. All right, let's move on to this week's entry into the databank, shall we? This week's entry is obsession. Oh, you know what that is, folks? That's a spoiler alert. The following information, if you have not seen the episode, contains spoilers. And by the following information contains spoilers, this is all one big spoiler. So hey, it's out there. Spoiler alert. Here we go. A landing party on Argus 9 has discovered an element known as titanium, which is 21.4 times as hard as diamond. Kirk calls Scotty, recommending a research vessel be sent to catalog the find. As Spock phasers off a specimen, a strange cloud is seen approaching and leaving the area, giving off a sweet scent. Kirk refers to it as honey, which triggers a memory from his past. Well, obviously it's from his past. Kirk orders a perimeter sweep, scanning for dichloronium. Kirk gives the order to fire immediately at any clouds seen. Scotty calls, informing Kirk of a rendezvous with the Yorktown in 48 hours. Spock reminds Kirk that dichloronium exists only in laboratory experiments. Kirk remembers something similar from 11 years ago. The security team is tracking the course of the cloud, which envelops 2 members of the 3-man team, suffocating them. The 3rd man calls the captain, getting choked off by the cloud, pushing out the words, "Need help." Kirk and Spock arrive in time to find 2/3 of the security squad dead, every red corpuscle removed from their body. Kirk thinks he knows what it is. Something that can't possibly exist. But it does. Kirk has evacuated the personnel from Argus 10. In sickbay, Dr. McCoy goes over the autopsy reports of the 2 dead security officers. Kirk calls the bridge, where Spock informs him that the ship is ready to leave orbit. Kirk orders him to stay when Scotty cuts in, reminding him of the rendezvous with the USS Yorktown. The Yorktown is carrying badly needed medical supplies for Theta 7. Kirk takes responsibility for not leaving, knowing full well lives on Theta 7 are on the line. As McCoy reveals the cause of death as being medically impossible, Kirk reveals the USS Farragut was on a mission 11 years ago, where cases of similar deaths by similar means were recorded. Kirk orders Rizzo, the surviving security man, brought back to consciousness for questioning, despite McCoy's warnings. Kirk asks about what happened to him on the planet. Rizzo remembers being cold and smelling a sickly sweet odor that was like being smothered in honey. The cloud was trying to draw strength from him. He falls back to sleep, McCoy not wanting to risk another drop of cordrazine, as we know how that works. Kirk arrives on the bridge, ordering the security duty officer to report. Kirk and Spock discuss a way to detect the cloud, which is eluding sensors. Spock suggests the cloud may be an intelligent creature, which may correlate with the records McCoy is going over in the lab. The security officer, Ensign Garavik, arrives on the bridge. Garavik was friends with Rizzo, who has just been reported as dying in sickbay. Kirk and Garavik lead a security team to the planet. Kirk sees the molecular shift Spock suggested on the bridge, which generates a dichloronium reading. Kirk and Garavik split up, with orders to fire on the creature on site. Garavik's party is searching for the creature. Garavik turns, hesitating for a brief moment upon seeing the creature. As it moves, he fires, alerting Kirk to its presence. As Kirk arrives, he sees Garavik staring at the bodies of his companions. Back on the ship, 1 man is dead, the other in critical condition. Kirk now believes this creature is the same one that attacked the Farragut earlier. Garavik reports the creature was able to vary its size and shape, but didn't sense intelligence from it. He recounts the events leading him to He recounts the events leading him to firing on the creature, revealing he was startled, and that the creature was moving by the time he fired. Geoffrey apologizes for hesitating for a moment, upon which Kirk relieves him of duty. Kirk defends his decision by stating one man died as a result of Geoffrey's hesitation. Spock begins to make comments about the creature, which Kirk orders him and McCoy to put into their reports. Geoffrey enters his quarters, throwing himself on the bed, understandably upset. As Kirk arrives on the bridge, Scotty informs him he's cleaned the number 2 impulse vent, and the ship will be ready to leave in 30 minutes. As messages from the Yorktown come in, Kirk states he feels his crew is conspiring against him, which after a moment of reflection he apologizes for. Kirk has a somewhat heated encounter with Chekhov, who is scanning for the creature, after which he storms off the bridge. Spock enters sickbay to ask McCoy's advice, which he jokingly states he needs a drink. Spock reveals he doesn't comprehend the human emotional state of obsession. As McCoy hasn't had the chance to study the logs of the Farragut, Spock states that he had, as he can read somewhat faster. The Farragut, under the command of Captain Geoffrey, the same as the Enterprise ensign, with James T. Kirk aboard during his first deep space assignment. McCoy goes to see Kirk, who talks to him about guilt. Kirk believes he's speaking of Ensign Geoffrey, while McCoy was actually speaking about Kirk. Kirk reveals he also delayed in firing for a total of 2 seconds. The XO of the Farragut, however, felt that Kirk performed his duties exceptionally well. Kirk spoke with profound respect for Captain Geoffrey while still blaming himself for the incident with the Farragut, stating that the creature must be destroyed. Kirk becomes very defensive as McCoy states he's preparing a medical log entry on the physical and emotional status of Kirk, which requires a witness of command grade, at which point Spock enters Kirk's cabin. Kirk infers that between Spock and McCoy, they feel he's incapacitated. After Kirk disregards the books, as Spock started quoting from the book, Spock begins to recount the current events, notably the Yorktown awaiting at the rendezvous point with the medical supplies for Theta 7, which are desperately needed. Kirk spills his guts about the events of 11 years previous. Between the trio, they realize this creature, if intelligent, could represent a grave danger to other planets, to which Kirk states is a command decision. After this, and not feeling Kirk is incapacitated, McCoy states that his medical log is open. Chekhov calls Kirk, stating the creature has left orbit. The Enterprise is in hot pursuit at Warp 8, to which Scotty cautions the ship cannot maintain. Kirk orders the ship's speed increase, to which Scotty begrudgingly obeys. Spock is getting conflicting data, to which the creature is in a state between matter and energy. Chekhov reports an alarm on the number 2 impulse hatch, which Scotty was doing maintenance on. Kirk orders the alarm turned off. Scotty warns the ship will blow up if they maintain Warp 8 velocities, to which Kirk orders Warp 6. In Geoffrey's quarters, Nurse Chapel brings him something to eat, under Dr. McCoy's orders. Christine states the ship is chasing the creature across the galaxy. Geoffrey is still feeling guilty, pouring his heart out to her. Christine informs him that Dr. McCoy gave Geoffrey written medical orders containing one word, 8. Chapel threatens to have him taken to sickbay and force-fed if need be. Christine takes the disc back to sickbay with her, which McCoy looks at curiously. Upon being questioned, Christine states that she was applying psychology. Haha. On the bridge, the creature is slowed to Warp 2. Kirk orders a slow approach, feeling the creature has decided to turn and fight. Geoffrey, in a fit of rage, throws the lid to his soup at the wall, accidentally engaging the ventilation bypass in his quarters. Kirk calls battle stations, to which Geoffrey disobeys orders and heads for the bridge. Geoffrey requests permission to return to duty, which Kirk ignores while attacking the cloud with phasers, then photon torpedoes. The torpedoes bring the creature towards the ship. Shields won't stop the creature, which makes its way into the ship via the number 2 impulse vent, which was left open for maintenance. In the briefing room, Scotty reports the creature is in the ventilation system, having attacked 2 people once coming aboard. McCoy reports a 50% chance of survival for the 2 men. One will die, the other might live. Spock reveals the creature is intelligent, with a methodical approach. Kirk orders radioactive waste flushed through the ventilation system as a means to to attempt to disable the creature. Spock reveals that the creature is able to exist out of temporal sink, having the ability for weapons to pass through it, which exonerates Kirk and Garvik. Spock visits Garvik to tell him the same thing when the creature enters the room via the ventilation system in his quarters. Spock throws him out of the room, sealing the doors behind him in an attempt to stop the creature. Garvik calls the bridge to report the creature in his quarters. Kirk, McCoy, and a security team arrive and scan Garvik's quarters. Excuse me. Spock emerges from his quarters. His blood, being copper-based, left a bad taste in the creature's mouth, as it were. Kirk notices the scent of the creature had changed, giving a feeling of home. As a result of the reverse pressure in the ventilation system and the radioactive venting, the creature is fleeing the ship. Kirk commends Garvik for being on the bridge when he was supposed to be in his quarters. He asks Garvik's appraisal of both the tactics used against the creature and his conduct on the planet. Kirk tells Garvik what McCoy told him about his hesitation not making a difference. After Kirk appears to forgive himself, he orders Garvik to return to duty. The Enterprise heads for planet Tycho 4 on Kirk's intuition. Kirk contacts Starfleet and the Yorktown, informing them of their plans, as well as a new rendezvous time of 48 hours. In orbit of Tycho 4, Kirk orders an antimatter device to be deployed with all the spare hemoplasm to bait the creature. Spock mentions that a matter-antimatter blast will rip away the atmosphere of a planet, and they could which could also cripple the ship. The same blast would wreak havoc on the ship's transporter if someone were beaming up when the shockwave hit the ship. Spock volunteers to go, as his blood does not contain hemoglobin. Kirk and Garvik transport down with the device, because if they failed, Spock would be needed aboard the ship to formulate a new plan. Kirk and Garvik transport down with the device. Spock takes the ship to maximum orbit as Kirk and Garvik deploy the device. Kirk sets the detonator as the creature appears, ingesting the hemoplasm in a matter of seconds. Kirk orders Garvik back to the ship. As Kirk orders Garvik back to the ship, he attacks Kirk, who lays him out. Kirk contacts Spock, trying to time the creature's approach and their beam out just right. Garvik can smell the creature as it develops the explosive. Kirk orders a beam out and detonation. Scotty and Spock are at the transporter as a shockwave hits the ship. Spock and Scott attempt different cross-circuiting methods to materialize them in, which proves to be successful. Scotty is relieved the captain is back aboard, thanking heaven. Spock makes a statement that it was his technical prowess, to which McCoy says, thank pitchforks and pointed ears. As Kirk and Garvik agree to meet after the incident has had a chance to clean up to swap stories about his father, the Enterprise warps out to make its rendezvous with the Yorktown. Alright. Like the Doomsday Machine, the script for this episode borrowed a page from Herman Melville's classic Moby Dick. Can I say that on here? Who cares, I just did. Director Ralph Sininsky noted, I realized from day one that it was a transferring of the Captain Ahab Moby Dick battle from the ocean to outer space. But the script was more than the novel's struggle between a man and a big whale. It was a mystery story. If not a whodunit, a what is it? And it was more beyond that. It was a deep penetration into Kirk's psyche. His inner struggle to overcome guilt for his actions in a past incident. And my computer's being screwy. Hang tight. Damn it. Gotta reload the page. You know what? Hopefully that's not it. Nah, we should be good. Here we go. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. Just bear with me just a second. So, anybody know any good jokes? Nah, I'm just kidding. There we go. On Friday, 13 October 1967, Sininsky left the set at sundown to observe the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Producer John Meredith Lucas took his place for those few hours, making this his first directorial contribution to the series. Blah, blah, blah. Lucas later went on to direct 3 episodes: The Ultimate Computer, Elan of Troyes, and The Enterprise Incident. Excuse me. This episode reveals that Phaser 2s have a disruptor setting. Ah, crap. There we go. Also referred to as setting disruptor B. This episode also reveals more about the biochemistry of Spock, which is based on copper, not iron, and found to be distasteful to the creature, as I mentioned earlier. This episode also reveals that an explosion of less than 1 ounce of antimatter has the force of 10,000 cobalt bombs, which is capable of ripping away half of a planet's atmosphere and may interfere with a transporter beam. Okay, so half the atmosphere. The episode featured the death of Eddie Paskey's character, Leslie, who was killed by the creature, but reappears in a few subsequent scenes very much alive, walking by Kirk's quarters wearing an Operations Division uniform and walking past sickbay in a Command Division uniform. According to Paskey, a scene in the script in which Leslie is revived by a miracle potion was never filmed. Director Ralph Sininsky also confirmed that he did not shoot the scene. Jerry Ayers, whose character Rizzo was killed by the cloud creature, also played Ensign O'Harley in Arena, another doomed red shirt character. He had his hair dyed lighter in this appearance to lessen the resemblance. George Takei does not appear in this episode. McCoy's short-sleeved medical tunic bears an engineering insignia instead of the usual Sciences Division insignia for the entire episode. I just watched that. I don't remember seeing that. I'll have to go back and check it out. The dichronium cloud creature was created using a smoke-making machine hidden behind the rocks on the planet soundstage set. According to the short story The Greater Good, contained in the anthology Shards and Shadows, the Mirror Universe James T. Kirk, who was then a lieutenant, served aboard the ISS Farragut in 2264. Captain Garevik took great pleasure in humiliating him in front of the crew. In revenge, Kirk arranged for Garevik and 200 of the crew to be killed by a dichronium cloud creature. He later claimed that he slept sounder in the night after Garevik's death than he had in years. All right, let's take it home, folks. This one I was here and there on this one, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. Slam it home. One more. Devoid of life is the brain cells of the average Cheaters fan. Oh, did I actually go there? Yeah, I did. Folks, I want to take a moment to thank you all for not only for bearing with me, but for having me in your homes again, as always. But it's that time. Time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. So everybody take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. More importantly, you might kill somebody else or yourself. And drinking and driving is dumber than being a Sequest fan. The only thing worse than that is rooting for cheating bastards like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and this ball's so heavy with all that air in it. Let's mess with the other team's headsets. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who watch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends ISIS or the Westboro Baptist Church who tried to picket Leonard Nimoy's funeral but couldn't find it. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, live long and prosper.